Dr. Evil has escaped.
Oh yes, but my department is onto it. Oh yes, we never sleep. Look, my dear chap, you must understand that you're dealing with British intelligence. My agency is famous for getting their man, and by God, sir, we will.
The British Secret Service, or MI6 as it's popularly known, on the government organization charts, it's called Secret Intelligence Service, was born shortly before World War I. They had this big empire, and in order to keep that empire, you were going to have to know what kind of threats were developing against it. But the problem was, it's a very big empire, and you're going to need a lot of people, and that's very expensive, and it's money the British government didn't have. Well, what you do is that you recruit from the upper classes, and you recruit what became known as the gentleman spies. This is the upper crust, well-connected, establishment British guy who was willing to work for his country. And now, SIS was offering it to them. Adventure, excitement, danger. It's also kind of glamorous for these kinds of people. There was a sort of espionage fraternity, you might call it. These were all the values that those books and movies conveyed, because that's what James Bond is all about.
Welcome to my submarine air, Mr. Powers. It's long and hard and full of scenes.
And we watched a lot of old spy films when we made the first one. We watched them again on the second one and making the third one. The old spy films, to us, are much more influential than any of the new ones. There's a kind of audacity in those early films that you're just supposed to take these guys for granted as instant legends.
Why don't you just fall down? There's a good lad.
The old school, not cynical, not self-aware bravado of the Bond series. I mean, we just fell for that.
Take him away!
There was a real-life model for that super spy, Dusko Popov.
Excuse me?
Popov was a Yugoslavian playboy. He liked women, he liked wine, he liked song, and he liked gambling, in just about that order. He was suave. He was sophisticated, he was a lady killer, he was a con man, he could talk his way into anything. Well, a British spy master by name of Ian Fleming, yes, that Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, said, Popov is a perfect British intelligence recruit. One of the distinguishing features about Bond movies were the gadgetry. Fleming based that not on British intelligence, but on American intelligence. It was made clear in these stories, these were all inventions of great British ingenuity, when in fact, they're American.
You see, I've turned the moon into what I like to call a Death Star.
Fleming made up the supervillain totally out of his head. That's what he figured you'd have to do. I'd have to have a guy in a white hat. That's James Bond. And the bad guy, who is really bad. What does he want to do? He wants to take over the world. Austin Powers is based on a real character. There was, back in the 60s, there was this wild kind of man about town. His name was Dr. Stephen Ward, and he was recruited for British intelligence. And he was one of the last of the so-called gentleman spies they wanted to recruit. I mean, he was absolutely with it. He was almost a walking cliche of the 60s, including sexually. You have to realize, these old, hoary people who are running MI6, they have no grasp of what the 60s is all about. You see people walking around in strange clothes and long hair and strange music, but they also understand that as intelligence people, they've got to tap it into that somehow. Well, it didn't work out too well, because if you don't understand these people, you can't control them. It was kind of the death knell of the gentleman spy, because the mess, I mean, it was just a mess. Everybody realized we can't run things like this anymore. These gentlemen spies had outlived their time.
Yeah, baby, yeah!